You can host parties, fun ones, and you can enjoy cocktails. You can, of course, open your house to teens. Just do it responsibly and with a clear understanding of the laws that are involved. And yes, that includes never allowing minors to drink alcohol at your house. Full stop. Hi there, and welcome back to Life is Legal, where we unpack the laws that sneak into everyday life without the Latin, the lecture, or the stodgy lawyer vibe. I'm your host, Brooke Hardie, lawyer, legal translator, and huge fan of a top-shelf margarita on the rocks with salt. Picture this. You're at home, living your best life, folding towels and lighting a candle called Birchwood Tranquility, congratulating yourself for hosting a wholesome graduation gathering in your spotless home. You walk into the living room and you suddenly realize all the teens have this glazed look in their eyes. And next to the couch are several bedazzled Stanley cups, mysteriously heavy, slightly sticky, and filled with a liquid that smells a lot like Jack and Coke. Today, we're talking about how you can stay out of legal crosshairs if someone you served alcohol to subsequently makes some poor decisions. So let's start light with adults, and then we'll descend into the fiery underworld of teenagers being teenagers. People ask me all the time, if I have a party and someone gets drunk at my house and crashes their car, am I liable? And you'll be glad to know that the answer is a clear, crisp, resounding maybe. In law school, they talk about the reasonable person, capital R, capital P, when determining whether some type of behavior was negligent. In this case, the hostess, the guest, whomever. The reasonable person is the person who always buckles their seatbelt, never exceeds the legal drinking limit, leaves parties promptly at 9:15 p.m., and has the emotional range of a beige napkin. This is the person that you will be judged against if you're ever sued for over-serving someone at your house. What would the reasonable person have done? And here's the general rule in most states. Adults are responsible for themselves, including how much they drink and what they do if they've been overserved. Unless you, as the host, acted like the bartender in a spring break movie, meaning you kept serving someone who was visibly intoxicated, knew they were driving, and still encouraged one more shot because YOLO. That's where the reasonable person can ruin your day. Here's an example. Dave shows up to your backyard barbecue. Dave is having a blast. He has had a beer, more beers, a margarita with a margarita chaser, and now he's moved on to the old brown water. Everyone sees it. You see it. Your neighbor sees it. Your dog sees it. And Dave then insists on driving home. And you, being a kind, non-confrontational host that doesn't want to embarrass Dave, say, "Sure, buddy. You know your limits." No, he does not know his limits. He can't even find his own shoes, okay? Dave crashes. Someone gets hurt. And now the injured person's lawyer is looking at you like you personally poured that last Jell-O shot down Dave's throat and promptly handed him the keys to his car. That plaintiff's lawyer will paint you to be the antithesis of the reasonable person. Now, that's not to say that you would definitely be held liable for Dave's actions. Again, adults are responsible for themselves. But you don't want to give some slick plaintiff's lawyer any reason to bring you into the fold because, say, you've got deep pockets. Okay? So Here is a practical adult hosting checklist. It's short. Watch for visible intoxication. Offer food and water before it becomes a situation. And call the Uber. Or better yet, let them crash at your house. And I'm not saying that you have to tackle someone to the ground and wrestle their keys away from them if they refuse to get into the rideshare, but I want you to think about what you can do to mitigate the threat that something could go wrong. Okay? All right, let's shift to minors. We now enter the place where common sense goes to die, making alcohol available to minors. Okay, caveat. In some states, it's not illegal to allow your minor child to drink alcohol in your presence in your house. What I'm talking about today is furnishing alcohol to a minor that's not your own kid. Okay? Hosting minors is a whole different universe, legally speaking. Forget the reasonable person. Forget kids being kids. And forget I'd rather drink at home rather than someone else's house. In most U.S. states, it is illegal to furnish alcohol to minors, period. It is illegal to allow access to alcohol to minors. It is illegal to know about minors drinking and not stop it. Just the act of serving alcohol to a minor can result in fines of up to $5,000 and up to a year in the old county jail. Again, all depending on your state's laws. And in cases where after drinking alcohol that you served or made available leads to the death or serious injury to someone, the minor or someone else, this is your life just changed forever category of punishment, okay? In many states, the penalties where there's severe injury or death turn into a felony. And that can result in up to 20 years in prison, depending on your state and the outcome of the situation. Fines from, $5,000 to $100,000 and up. Also, a permanent criminal record. Loss of professional licenses, aka your ability to make a living. Your voting rights go away. Okay, what if you didn't serve alcohol to a minor, but you knew there was alcohol brought into your home and you allowed the drinking to happen? Like if you turn the other cheek and your kid and their friends are drinking in the game room, and then one of the kids jumps on a scooter and cracks his head open or gets into a car and crashes. You, the owner of the property where the drinking occurred, could be responsible even when you weren't the one serving the alcohol, even if you suspected it was around, but you didn't even see it. 32 states allow adults to be held civilly liable, meaning financially responsible for injuries or damages caused by the underage drinker. 30 states have criminal penalties, so possible jail time, for adults who simply permit underage drinking to occur at their house. If the result is that someone is hurt because of the underage drinking, it may be time to call a criminal defense lawyer. In 2015, in Pennsylvania, a group of teenagers drank alcohol at the home of Jody and Stephen Turney. I'll never forget this case. Before driving off in an SUV. 2 high school football players, a 17-year-old and a 16-year-old, died in a fatal crash after consuming alcohol at the Turney's home. Prosecutors charged Jody Turney with involuntary manslaughter endangering the welfare of children, corruption of minors, and furnishing alcohol to minors because she allegedly allowed the teens to drink alcohol at her house and didn't take reasonable steps to prevent them from leaving impaired. At trial, the prosecutor argued that the evidence showed that Turney knew alcohol was being consumed by minors in her home and still permitted the teens to drive away intoxicated, which caused the crash into a utility pole. A jury convicted her on the charges, and she was sentenced to several years in prison for her role in those teens' deaths, with her husband receiving probation for some related charges. In Massachusetts, a court ordered a social host to pay $2 million in damages to the parents of a victim killed by a drunk driver, a minor, who had been served alcohol at a party. The judge found that the adult host's negligent furnishing of alcohol to underage drinkers led to the fatal car crash, and civil responsibility, the $2 million, was the result. Some parents believe if the kids drink here, I can control it. No, you cannot. The law does not reward cool parenting. It punishes it. The law doesn't expect you, though, to be like omniscient, but it does expect you to be intentional. And in this day and age, intentional parenting includes knowing that alcohol can show up via an app, not just from your own liquor cabinet. So what are you going to do? Do things like this. Secure the alcohol that you do control. If you think it could be a problem, lock up what's in your house, not because it's foolproof, but because it shows at least intentional boundaries. Set clear house rules out loud in advance. No alcohol in this house. If I find it, party's over. And know the guest list and the exits. If kids are coming and going, suddenly you're not just hosting, you're running an unsupervised venue, okay? None of this free-for-all hangouts that go on long after you've gone to bed. Do periodic check-ins. You don't need to hover, but you do need to be present enough so that secrecy is hard. And man, monitor deliveries. If alcohol shows up, gathering's over, period. Just create a culture where your kids can call you. So many parents are really good at this. I see so many of them doing the no questions asked if you need an Uber home or if I need to come pick you up. I think that's so great. A kid who feels safe asking for help is less likely to hide a dangerous situation, in my opinion. And finally, just assume that peer pressure will beat good judgment. Even good kids do dumb stuff in groups. We all did it. Plan for that. Don't deny it. Because here's the truth. You can host parties, fun ones, and you can enjoy cocktails. You can, of course, open your house to teens. Just do it responsibly and with a clear understanding of the laws that are involved. And yes, that includes never allowing minors to drink alcohol at your house, full stop. When adults drink at your house, be reasonable. When minors are present, be vigilant. Now, what I've said today has probably put the fear of God in you to a certain extent, but I also hope that you've gained a sense for how to operate reasonably under the law when it comes to serving alcohol, especially in the case of minors. Again, don't do it. It's not worth it. If you don't appreciate what can happen if something goes sideways, you're playing legal roulette. And this whole podcast is meant to take the guesswork out of your legal rights and obligations. If this episode was helpful, hit subscribe and share it with someone who needs to hear it. Because remember, life is legal. So you got to know the rules. Thanks for being here, and I'll see you next time.